Have you ever been to one of your favorite restaurants and been into one of your delicious meals and thought, I wish I could cook this from home, save some money, and be able to make, my favorite dishes at home? And that's what my next guest did. It's called the Copycat Recipe Niche, and he developed a book that had the recipes for some of America's favorites. Foods from the Macaroni Grill and the Cheesecake Factory and Olive Garden. And he created an ebook and then developed into a physical book and actually got a deal with Simon and Schuster. 1.5 million copies later, he was a New York Times bestseller. But then from that, he just didn't rest on his laurels. He developed a whole online community, created several more books around his love of cooking. And now he teaches other entrepreneurs how to develop their own products and services, including using webinar as a very effective sales tool. And he has a whole conference, which you're going to hear all about this fall, and why you, if you are serious about getting involved in the online entrepreneur space, need to attend. My interview with my friend Ron Douglas on this episode of Bootstrap MD. Hey guys, this is Dr. Mike Wiming. Welcome to another edition of Bootstrap MD. I'm super excited to have on the call what I consider one of the OGs or involved in internet marketing back in the day. And we've been friends for off and on many years. We would see each other at different conferences. And I said, Ron, I need to get you on this call because you have such an inspirational story. He's a former Wall Street financial analyst who got an MBA. And before realizing he was kind of miserable in the corporate world and wanted more time to spend with his family, he started doing entrepreneur stuff back in the late 90s, started marketing products as early as 2001. He found a niche that people would want the information that this niche provided. And that was in the recipe arena, into cooking. He self-published a cookbook called America's Most Wanted Recipes that became a New York Times bestseller. Since then, he's done such an enormous amount of things, from creating information products and courses. And now he has a a program called WebinarCon. We're going to find out more about it. That's coming in the fall of this year. So I'd like to welcome to the program, Ron Douglas. Ron, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you, Dr. Mike. It's always great to be with you.
Thank you. I consider you an OGs because, we go to these different conferences and we see these, let's say, younger marketers, younger millennials, and they often, what I found, at least some of the ones that I go to, is they're not necessarily entrepreneurial. They're working for a company or, getting involved in the tech space. And I think there's something really, maybe I'm romanticizing it a bit about, but those days when we were creating products and courses and just kind of left caution to the wind sometimes and launching these big projects. So I want to take it back to the late 90s. We kind of talked about it in your bio. You were in Wall Street, and then tell me about how you were disenchanted by the corporate world, because on our program, we have a lot of doctors and healthcare professionals. They're making good money, but they're not necessarily excited about their job, and they're looking for other ways to generate revenue. One of them in particular is developing your own online business. So let's talk about it. How did you get started?
Yeah, man, the old days back in the late 90s, early 2000s, man. I miss those days too. There was no social media. There was no easy way to find customers. There was no Google. There was no YouTube. And we just really had each other, right? We had online communities like the Warrior Forum, and we had places where our audience would hang out and we'd be able to tap into those audiences. But the good thing, like, traffic was a lot cheaper back then. And then you had people that had traffic already that you could get to be affiliates of yours and promote your product. And it was just a matter of finding a product that sold. But the numbers back then were a lot less. Like, I look at the NBA, I know you're a fellow NBA fan. and you look at some of the salaries that these players are getting, and 50 million a year to, come off the bench seems like, to miss a lot of shots. Russell Westbrook's getting 47 million and he's shooting 18% from three. Right.
Westbrook.
So it's like, yeah, Westbrook. Yeah. Don't let them hear you say that. So it's like the numbers, like back then we were just trying to get, like, if we can get just $10,000 a month. Like I remember Jeff Walker, his claim to fame, he's like known for the product launch formula. But prior to that, his claim to fame was he was Jeff 6 and 7. So he did 6 figures in 7 days, and that blew everybody away. And that was his kind of tagline. So the numbers were a lot less. The opportunity was a lot less than it is now. So someone getting in the game now, you have a huge opportunity, and it's easy to find your marketplace. They're all hanging out on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitter or on these different places. So you could target right into that marketplace. And there's so many communities and so many people. The opportunity is just so much bigger now. But yeah, I got started, I was started out just selling how to make money online products. And I wasn't really making a whole lot of money online. And then that didn't work out too well. So I was really looking for something. I was an affiliate on this network called ClickBank. ClickBank is a marketplace where you can find different products to promote, or you can list your product for sale, and affiliates that want to find a product to promote can find you and get what's called an affiliate link, where they can get a commission for promoting your product. And it's mostly digital products on there, some supplements, but some of these products are doing $40,000 a day. Like these guys are a huge $1 billion network. So I was a ClickBank affiliate promoting other people's products, and I was just looking for something to promote. I was interested in cooking. So I was like, what can I promote outside of make money online? What can I do? So I did some research, and I started to find out that people were always looking for these recipes for their favorite restaurant dishes, like chain restaurants, the popular ones, Red Lobster, Olive Garden, Cheesecake Factory, KFC, all these places. So, and then I started doing additional research, and a lot of people had published their version of different recipes. And then I did even more research, and I found that there's no real copyright on recipes. You could literally take a recipe, try it out, switch up some ingredients, and then it becomes your recipe, or change the wording. And, as long as you could put your own spin on it and not use someone's word for word recipe, then recipe is no copyright. So started doing research, and I said, okay, this would be a great little niche to create a little ebook about and sell it on ClickBank. And that's what I did. And I was working at JP Morgan Chase at the time. And one day I just logged in, and then it was like, looked at my email account. It was like sale. I'm like, oh my God, people are buying this thing. And it was awful. It was, Mike, when I tell you it was awful, it was god awful. It had, the sales page had Microsoft clip art on it as graphics. It was done in front page. The ebook cover looked real like ghetto, the whole thing. And I had no idea, but I was charging $20 for this thing, and people were buying it because it was the angle, it was the offer. People wanted to know how to make secret restaurant recipes. And I had a book with 19 recipes in it for $20, and it just started selling. And then other sites were promoting it, sending me traffic, and I was getting sales. And I'm like, wow, I'm on to something. A light bulb went off, and I just started focusing all my time on building that up. I turned it into a real self-published cookbook, started selling it on Amazon, added like 100 recipes to it, and hired some outside chefs, to come in. I started building an email list off of that, built this big community. And by 2004, I was making more from that than I was making from my job. And then I was always like heavy networking with different marketers, trying to learn what they were doing. And then Tom Bill, a fellow friend of ours, he kind of exposed me to the idea that he kind of planted the seed to say, this is much bigger than little ebooks on ClickBank or selling this on Amazon. You can actually get publicity from this. At the time, he was working with Jim Kelly, the former football player, and he was helping him get marketing and publicity and stuff. And he told me that, and light bulb went off, and I'm like, wow. So I hired a publicist. The publicist went out, and the publicist introduced me to a literary agent. Ended up getting my first TV interview on Fox Business. And this was in 2000.
I remember that.
Yeah, 2008. And they ran with the story, former Wall Street guy. By that time, I got laid off. I got laid off in 2007. I guess they figured out I had another gig or whatever. And he said, former Wall Street guy leaves his job on Wall Street to pursue his passion of cooking. Right. And I wasn't a cook or anything. I was just an online
I was
digital
going to ask you
publisher.
if you're passionate about it.
Yeah. So I started taking cooking lessons just so I wouldn't embarrass myself on television. So I got that TV interview and we parlayed that into a book proposal. I hired a literary agent, ended up getting a book deal with Simon & Schuster to do 2 books, 6-figure advance from that. And long story short, that took off. I've done 6 books with Simon & Schuster. I got 2 more book deals from them. And collectively, we sold over 1.5 million copies of that book series. And then from there, naturally, people wanted to know, like, how did you do this? So I started actually teaching what I did, teaching people how to self-publish, teaching people how to get publicity, teaching people how to build an audience online. And then I started doing webinars and actually made more teaching what I know and coaching people than from actually doing it. And I made, a lot of money doing it. I still get royalty checks from that. So that's the short version of a long story.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Yield Nodes. If you're looking to get into cryptocurrency, but you're scared away by all the volatility, first, I don't blame you. Recently, I discovered a passive income opportunity, which is known as Yield Nodes, which is a profit-sharing program where they are investing in creating nodes, creating servers that can help the blockchain. My returns average about 8 to 10% per month. I'm not a financial advisor. You should do what you feel is important for your money, but if you want to check this out, go to bootstrapmd.com/go/yieldnodes, and I think you'll be really excited about the opportunities that are possible through cryptocurrency. I love that. One thing you mentioned is you weren't a cook. You weren't passionate about it. So how did you get your first recipes? Did you find stuff online and then had your own take on it? Were you experimenting at home and trying to figure out the Colonel Sanders secrets?
Yeah, the Colonel Sanders one really took off. Yeah, that was the one I spent the most time on. I had like a bunch of different versions of it. As I mentioned, people were researching these and publishing their results online and these like little message boards and whatnot. So I would just kind of take their results as a base and then say, okay, maybe it needs more of this, less of that. Me and my wife were just in the kitchen doing that. But not all the recipes we did, we've published hundreds of recipes. So not all of them were that process. Some of them were just, research and having some chefs help us out, like, test it out for us and things like that.
When you decided to, you had a conversation with Tom Beal, I'm curious as to how you decided to go, I guess, kind of legit. Because back in the day, I came from the Frank Kern school of creating these little niches and created these eBooks in a whole bunch of different markets, specifically in the dog training area. But I never went and even thought about, going on Fox Business or CNN or wherever. What made you decide? Was it just that one conversation with Tom, or did you feel that, you kind of legitimized what you were doing in some way? What triggered it? Because most people wouldn't take it to that arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was also at that event. I was friends with Mike Filsaime, and he introduced me to his publicist. And the publicist was the one that convinced me, like, I can get, because he had, a lot of connections in New York City. I was living on Long Island at the time, and he convinced me, like, the media would love this story. So I kind of just took a blind leap of faith, paid him, let him do his thing, and he started getting me all these interviews. So it's just a matter of knowing it was possible, and then when the opportunity arose, saying yes to it. And then just, sometimes when you're in the room with people doing things that you want to do, opportunities like that come up, and it just expands your mind. That's why I do my own events now. Like, people come to my events and find different opportunities and make deals, and their minds get expanded to what's possible, and just creates an environment where, fosters a certain amount of success afterwards.
So someone who's listening to this program, they're saying, hey, that sounds great, Ron. You stumbled onto a niche. You were lucky because you found something that's untapped. And, today there's so many niches that are already exhausted and they're already being fulfilled. What would you say to someone like that?
I would say that you're not really understanding how big the marketplace is and how big the opportunity is. There are a lot of niches, but they're not it can't be enough sellers to saturate it. Because like, here's the thing, like if you're an expert in something and you're looking at all these other experts and they're selling their products, well, once you start putting your expertise out there, first of all, there are a lot of people that never seen those guys or just didn't resonate with those folks, but they might like you and your personality and like what you're offering and your offer and how you're positioning things in your brand. So you could build your own tribe of people that are connected with you, no matter who else is out there selling. And there's never enough sellers to fulfill this huge trend of people looking for online education, looking for products, looking for an expert to help them achieve their goals, looking for solutions to their problems. So the other thing I would say is most people are afraid to put their product out there, put themselves out there, put their information out there, to stake their claim as an expert in something. Right. So that just gives you an advantage if it's wide open, if you're willing to do it, because most people won't. Right. It creates a natural barrier of entry for people doing that. So if you really believe, and really, someone once told me, like, if you have something that can help people, every day that you don't put it out, you're being selfish, right? You owe it to those people to offer that help, to put your stuff out there, to make a difference in people's lives. If you genuinely have a solution that can help people. So it's the way I look at it. And it's just, put it out there and the people that like you will like you and buy your products.
And like it yourself, I like to say, like, if you want to go into this niche, you should be comfortable getting on stage, and talking about that niche. And then you took it to the nth degree. You got on, where millions of people can see you. But even then, you had some kind of reservations. You said you took some cooking lessons. Why don't you kind of expand on that?
Yeah. They told me I had a live cooking demonstration on Wendy Williams' show. Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get embarrassed if I don't have my stuff together. So I just, prepared. I had the opportunity. I said yes, but I made sure I prepared for it, by taking some cooking lessons, by practicing ahead of time, things like that. So you don't want to just go in there blind. You want to say yes, but give yourself an opportunity to prepare.
So tell me, what's a typical day? You don't working for anybody else. I mean, you're your own boss. Sometimes I hate my boss. Sometimes I love my boss because I'm my own boss. How does that work for you? And you had mentioned that this business helped put your kids through college and living the lifestyle that you're leading. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a typical day is I usually generally work from maybe 8 to about 3 or 4. And I just try to focus on working off a to-do list of things I need to get done. I have several different companies going on. One is a startup right now that I'm trying to get off the ground. So that's taking up some of my time. Another one is the WebinarCon event where, I alluded to earlier, where all the webinar people come. And that, that really heats up as we get closer to the event date, November. But right now we're selling sponsorships. So I have my partners on that. And it takes a certain amount of discipline, and you really have to be focused on, setting a goal and saying, I'm going to take these steps to get it. I'm going to work through this checklist. I usually try to make a checklist the night before of what I want to get done. I try to knock it out, and then I go reward myself. I go for a run, or I go to the gym, or go get some food, or go get, hang out with my wife or something like that. But it's a lot different than working in a corporate type of environment or working in a 9-to-5 where, you have that accountability there. Like having your own boss, you have to be accountable to yourself. So I'm also, I have some assistants that work with me, and I'm always making sure that I have them doing something. So I'm not just paying them for nothing. So that keeps me, with something on the to-do list that needs to get done as well.
I've been there and done that I've had the assistants, and they're like, okay, now what else can I get her to do?
Right.
She doesn't.
And having partners works too. Like having partners that you keep each other accountable and focused on certain goals. I like what I do. I mean, it's fun. I'm building stuff. I'm my own boss, and it's a fun thing. It's like kind of building a tree house. When you're building a tree house, you're not really counting the hours. You're just looking at it, and at the end of it, you see this thing you created, and it's just a good feeling. So I do that over and over again. I'm building tree houses. I'm building, different products. I'm doing online events like summits and different things like that. So it's always something new and exciting. And webinars too give me a certain amount of you're doing a webinar online, having an audience that's there to listen to you and being able to give value and sell something right in front of that audience where they vote. They kind of vote to say, I like you. They vote with their wallets, right? At the end of that presentation, you see a bunch of people buying, and it feels great to be able to just create something out of thin air, like create an information product just off of the knowledge that you have, and record videos and put it in a members area, and selling people access, selling logins to it. And then they like your presentation and like what you're selling and see how it can help. They see how it can help them, and then they buy it. And it's like, wow, that worked. I just created something from nothing. So it's a good feeling always to do.
So let's talk about a webinar as a sales tool. I've been involved in business for a long time. We're using webinars, at the beginning, early, I would say, 2008, 2009, 2010, doing really well with webinars. And then my perception, or maybe other people's perception, webinars was dead. People say you can no longer do them. What is the status of webinars today? Obviously, you have an event called WebinarCon, so you're obviously, right. Still feel that it's an important tool. Talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, the people that were saying webinars were dead were doing webinars over and over again, and more webinars were coming on the market, being presented to the same people. So people were still making money with it, but not as much money as before, because these folks, the same little pocket of customers, were kind of getting saturated with seeing the same type of sales presentations. And, originally they thought a webinar was going to be this event where they were going to learn XYZ and it was going to be transformative and all that stuff. And then they're like, well, all of these webinars, they're teaching a little bit, but then they're pitching their offer. So that audience kind of got jaded, but the internet's a big place, and there's people out there now, like webinars are still doing well because there's people out there like my partner with WebinarCon, Onyx and Gal, just bringing new blood into the marketplace, running a tremendous amount of ads, mass market, just bringing new people in. So there's more people than ever online. And, webinar is just a meeting room, an online meeting room. So people saying webinars are dead, that would be just like saying, selling from the stage is dead. Like it's not, it's just a tool for delivering your message and your offer. It's nothing more than that. So a webinar can never be dead. A webinar is just a tool to get people in a room to listen to you. What's always going to be alive is like the message, that the people that you're targeting, the offer, how you can help people. People are still buying information products, like the e-learning market, for instance, I think it's already scheduled to be $1 billion a day market. So it's huge out there. So I don't think webinars are dead at all. I don't think they can be dead. It's just a matter of, what are you selling? How are you positioning it? Are you actually helping people? And do people have a good experience on your webinar? If they do, they'll come back.
So you've got WebinarCon coming in November. Tell us what was the genesis of this seminar, and what can we hope to expect if we would like to attend to this?
Yeah, so WebinarCon, I actually bought the domain webinarcon.com in 2017, and kind of sat on the idea. I was kind of becoming a webinar expert. That was kind of like my wheelhouse, doing webinars. And webinars were an easy way to get people to promote you, right? Because people are willing to promote a presentation because they can position it to their audience as not just another sales pitch. This is a presentation with this expert coming on to teach you XYZ. So it's much easier to get someone to promote your webinar usually than to say, just send your customers to my sales page and we'll make money that way. So webinars are still seen as a content event if you do it right and if you market it right. So that was one of my things. I would get people to promote my webinar, and I would give them a commission. And I became good at doing that. And I would take some of that money, reinvest it into ads, YouTube ads, Facebook ads. And I had what's called an evergreen webinar that would play just in time every 15 or 30 minutes. And people could watch the on-demand presentation. And that was kind of like my sales system that was going on. And I got pretty good at that. And I started teaching people how to do it, started doing like little mastermind events. So we would piggyback off of other events, like the big event in San Diego, Traffic and Conversion Summit. Right. Their event would be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We would come in, do a weekend prior to that, like the weekend before, and have our mastermind event because we knew a lot of people were going to be there. and they could come to our mastermind event. So we would piggyback off of big events and do it that way. And I was teaching webinars and traffic. And then Onyx and Gal made a post one day. He has this big thing called the Learn Center in Maryland, 26,000 square foot facility.
I've been there.
Yeah, with an event room. So, it's huge. He could fit like 125 people in this event room. So he made a post saying that, asking if anyone wanted to rent out his event room to do an event. And I was just getting to know Onyx, getting in good with him. And I said, sure, I'd love to do an event there. And he's like, what kind of event? And I was like, well, I do these masterminds, weekend masterminds teaching people webinars. He's like, oh, I love webinars. I made a lot of money with webinars. And he said, Andy Hassan also approached me with that potential idea of doing a webinar event. And Andy was brokering webinars. So he was the guy that would match people up. Like, you promote his webinar, he'll promote your webinar. You both make money. He takes a commission, like a referral fee from both sides, so usually 10% from both sides. So that was his business. So I approached Andy, and I was friends with Andy because he had brokered a few of my webinars. And I said, hey, you want to partner up and do this? He was like, sure, let's do it. So we approached Onyx with the idea. How much is it? 2 nights at your place, 2 days. It was like 25 grand or something. Like, whoa, dude. So it was more than we were looking to pay. So we were like, we're all friends here, but honestly, that was more than we were looking to pay. He was like, well, here's what I'll do. I like it so much, I'll partner with you guys on it. And that became, and I was like, well, let's name it WebinarCon. I already have the domain, and they loved it. And that became the first WebinarCon. So we were able to do that event 6 days before the building shut down, like literally 2020, 6 days before the building shut down for the pandemic. And we squeezed it in, and it was a great success. We had a whole lot of, because, the topic of webinars, it attracts high-level people, because most people, like I mentioned, are afraid to put themselves out there to speak to a group of people, to come on a webinar and present, or to speak from a stage. It's like a huge fear that people have, but the people that do that are usually high-level people. So we started getting all these high-level people signing up for WebinarCon. They came to the event, and it became the event for webinar marketers, and the event that you go to where there's all high-level people. Like, you don't have to, worry about, finding the people you want to talk to. They're all there for you, and they're all interested in doing deals and webinars and topics. And we have great speakers. It's a no pitch event, just all content. And it's a $5,000 event, but we have people that come there and make deals and do product launches off of those deals, and like Joel Peterson's a fellow friend of ours. You can ask Joel. He's like literally made over $1 million off of the people, the contacts he met at WebinarCon. We have several stories like that. And we have scores of people that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's people that are making more off the event than we do. And it feels good to bring them together like that. So that's WebinarCon. It's an event where you learn about webinars. It's an event where we have some facilitated networking components to it, where we can match you up with the people you want to meet. And you can do deals. If you're an agency, you run an agency, like an ad agency, you can come find clients, different things like that. So everybody has a benefit from it, and it makes the amount that they pay for the ticket. And it's a small event. It's like 100 to 150. We're expecting 150 people this year. We keep it intimate, and we keep it just high level people.
And what are the dates, and where can they go and find out more information about it?
It's November 18th through the 20th. If you're watching this, I don't know when you'll be watching this, but right now we actually have an early bird page set up. Like, if you go to webinarcon.com, you can just put your name on the waiting list. But if you want to get the early bird offer, it's actually $1,500 off. You can go to webinarcon.com/early. And you could see all the details and get your early bird ticket for $1,500 off. That's
obviously it sounds like it's great. It's for high-end marketers, right? Is that would be the best candidate for someone to come like this?
Yeah. High-end marketers, anyone looking to learn webinars on a high level. Like, we're just looking for high-level people. You don't necessarily have to be a marketer. You could actually find someone there that's a marketer that maybe you want to partner with to do your marketing. There's people like that, agencies like that there. Just someone that is looking to get themselves out there to reach a market of people, to build a tribe, to, help people on a higher level. People that are professionals would be great. Have something to share. I mean, we don't frown on anybody, but those are the type of people that usually come to WebinarCon.
And do you have to be a Celtic fan or a Laker fan?
Yeah. You got to be a Knicks fan. That narrows it down.
Oh, man.
Like 1,000 unfortunate people.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks, Ron. Again, also, you've got your website too, rondouglas.com, where they can find out more information about your courses. You do a lot in terms of, tell me about other stuff that you teach. You talk a lot about information products, correct?
Yeah. We teach how to do online courses, how to put that together. That's kind of like, we do these private trainings for that. If anybody's interested, you can reach out to me. We do coaching for that as well. I'm actually rolling out a new program called Course Agents. So Course Agents is going to be the call center for people who sell courses. So we're going to have people that do live chat, people that pick up the phone and take orders right over the phone. Most people are just selling online and missing out on a huge opportunity because some folks just want to talk to somebody over the phone. And some folks that they see a phone number and it legitimizes what you're doing. So we're offering these type of call center and VA services specifically for the course market at the Course Agents. That's actually launching in another 2 weeks or so. So I'm looking forard to that.
All right. Well, you're here to hear first. Well, thanks, Ron. I know you're busy. You got a lot of businesses you got to run, a lot of fingers in lots of different jars. Thank you again. Is there any last minute thoughts before we end the call today?
No, I just want to say thank you. And guys watching this, you should be encouraged. You guys are following Dr. Mike. This guy's a legend. I know he's very humble, but Dr. Mike was one of the people I followed when I first got started. He was one of the big gurus, and he's found his niche with you guys now and helping you guys. So you guys are doing the right thing, and just stick with it. The market is huge. It's bigger than you think it is. And if you want to get involved, just one step at a time. If you put 3 things on a list and knock those things out every day, that's 90 things done every month, and you're on your way. So
you're on your way. Again, Ron, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for listening. As Ron says, you have ups and downs as an entrepreneur. You'll have great days and you'll have kind of sucky days, but as long as you do something and get your goals accomplished and keep moving forward.